Yes, here it is. So hope you can see the screen well. Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hope you can see my screen. Let's chant the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनि इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna everyone, and I hope everyone is doing good, keeping well. And today we are going to discuss again, continuing our Canto 7, where we left Friday, discussing about the first two chapters, where the Parashit Maharaj says the question like, it seems God may be, Krishna may be unequal or biased. And we discussed the two chapters where Krishna, we hear about the Hiranyakashipu, how Hiranyaksh been killed by Lord Barha, and when Hiranyakashipu, after this, he got a bit angry, though he pacified his families, especially his mother and the wife of Hiranyaksh, and saying a very philosophical, in terms of philosophical, saying though, giving a very nice description about the body and soul. And we discussed about the two stories which being described by Yamaraj, Yamaraj to kill Suyagna. And he said, I'm a small boy, and you are all learned. You are all learned, still lamenting for this dead body, which is still lying there. He could not speak because something has gone away, and that is soul. We are small boys, and still we don't have any parents, but still we have complete faith on Krishna that he will take care of us. And then he also explained, Yamaraj explained a story about the Kulinga birds. Uh, One of the hunter, he actually captured the wife of a Kulinga bird, and the male bird was crying or lamenting for the bird, for his wife. And suddenly he could not realize that the hunter was actually waiting very nicely, and he killed cooling a bird as well. And then we understood that even though it happens, on due course of time, we also have to give up our body, give up this body and take another body as per our spending of life, depending on one of the three modes of material nature. And after giving this very theoretical or logical example or explanation about do not lament for the death of Hirnaksha, he said that Hirnaksha has actually fought and died there, so he is glorious as well. Now Hiranyakashipu's mind gets changed. That's a learning comes from that. The demons, they might sometimes say here and there about God, but still in the heart they have something else. And now Hiranyakashipu is planning to kill Vishnu, which is not possible. And the chapter 3 says Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. So what happened now? Narada Muni is saying to Maharaj Yudhishthir that the demonic king Hiranyakashipu wanted to be unconquerable and free from all days dwelling of this body, and he wanted to be immortal, and he wanted to gain all the yogic perfection of to be deathlessness. There is no death for me, he thought like that. And he took a very, very severe austerity. Actually, he wanted to kind of conquer even Brahmaloka. He wanted to conquer all the entire universe. And then, keeping such a goal in his mind, Hiranyakashipu performed a very, 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 very kind of difficult austerities. And Prabhupada says, such are the goals of the austerities performed by demons. The demons, they perform austerity to to fight with the devotees, to fight with God. And Hiranyakashipu wanted to receive a benediction from Lord Brahma, so that in the future he would be able to conquer even Lord Brahma. And similarly, Prabhupada says one more examples of a demon received a benediction from Lord Shiva, and later on he wanted to kill Lord Shiva through the same benediction. And thus self-interested persons by demonic austerity want to kill even their own benedictor. Whereas the Vaishnavas, we'll see about Prahlad Maharaj in this chapter, about the Vaishnavas, they want to remain an ever existing servant of the Lord and never to occupy any post of the Lord. They don't want to conquer Lord, just they want to serve Lord. Prabhupada says the thing. And then Hiranyakashipu, being desirous of getting a boon from Lord Brahma to conquer all the entire world, and he thought that Brahma is immortal, I will become immortal as well by pleasing him. And he went to Mandarachal Parvat, hill of Mandara, and there he began performing austerity, just standing in his toes and keeping his arm upright, like one of the yogasanas. And then this position was extremely difficult. However, as he has a desire to conquer the world, conquer all the planets, and even he wanted to kill Vishnu, so he did this perfection. And fire started coming from his head. It's like all the smoke and fire spread throughout the sky, and even the devatas, they became extreme. All the planets became extremely hot, and all devata, they became agitated. Even the oceans and mountains and islands became agitated. And then all the devatas, they approached to Lord Brahma and requested him to please stop these disturbances. Also, the devatas, they informed that Hiranyakashipu had an intention to occupy the post of yours, Lord Brahma, and hence he is going for severe austerities. And then by uh, by dint of my severe austerity, I shall reverse the results of pious and impious activities, and I shall overturn all the established practices within this world. So this is being informed by Devatas to Lord Brahma, saying that he is planning to get the boon and then change the results of pious and impious. Earlier we understood that he instructed his ministers and all his fellow mates to go and kill cows, kill burn the places of where there is austerity being done, kill the brahmanas, destroy the places of hermitage, and no religion practices should happen. That was the instruction by Hiranyakashipu. So having that plan, he was doing a very, very severe austerity. And the Lord Brahma, as for the discussion with all the devatas, he actually appeared there. He he came to the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing the austerities. And at very first, Lord Brahma could not find where Hiranyakashipu was. Actually, his whole body, is being said, his whole body was covered by anthill, and it looks like just a grass or a bamboo stick. Nothing was there. All his skins and the muscles all are being eaten by these anthills and ants. And Prabhupada says, so actually he was just keeping his life air within his bones. Nothing was there. No flesh, no blood was there. And the Lord Brahma and all devatas, they spotted him somehow, and resembling a cloud covered sun, hitting all the world by his austerity. And struck with wonder, Lord Brahma began to smile and then addressed him. He says, "You are now perfect in your performance of austerities, and I may give you a boon or a benediction, so please ask as you wish." And Prabhupada says the Rakshas and the demons, they worship various demigods such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, just to take post of these demigods. So they prefer, they worship them, and by getting the boon, they wanted to attack them only. So that's the mentality of Rakshas or demons. And Prabhupada says, even a sensitive person like Bhrigu, born previously, could not perform such kind of austerities, nor will anyone in the future be able to do so. So the Lord Brahma is saying to Hiranyakashipu that the austerity which you are doing is actually extremely difficult. Even great sages also can't perform it. And so Narada Muni says, he's continued that, Lord Brahma came with his kamandalu, and he has, we understood in Canto 5, that when the Ganges came, and Lord Brahma took the Ganges in his kamandalu, and that water, he sprinkled the water on Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu actually revived his whole strong physical body again by the mercy of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, then Hiranyakashipu got his all physical body back, and he paid his obeisances to Lord Brahma and spoke, saying that no, he glorified actually Lord Brahma in many, many ways, and then says, "You are the supreme within this universe. You create everything," and so on. We discussed many a time that secondary creation is being done by Lord Brahma, and the first creation is being done by Lord Vishnu, and secondary creation, the whole creation of universe, is being done by Lord Brahma. And then he says, "Oh my Lord, O best of the givers of benedictions, if you will kindly grant me the benediction what I desire, please let me not meet death from any of the living entities created by you." So he's saying that any living entities created by you should not be able to kill me. And just see the plan. He says, "Grant me that I not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, and nor by any weapons, nor by any human beings or animals." So, in short, he planned to get a boon from Lord Brahma to become immortal in many ways. Okay, look, let's suppose if no one can kill me, it means I'm immortal. He's saying no human being can kill you, no animal can kill me, not in the day, not in the night, and all the things. And then he says, "Grant me that I not meet death from any entity, living or non-living. Grant me further that I'll not be killed by any devatas, any demons, or any great snake from the lower planet. Since no one can kill you in the battle, so you also give me the same," as he says, glorifying Lord Brahma, that no one can kill you in the battle. So give me the same boon. And therefore, grant me the benediction that I too may have no rival. And by saying that, Lord Brahma, Prabhupada says the Lord Brahma obtained his supreme position due to the long austerity and penances as well, and all the mystic yoga and meditation and so on. So Hiranyakashipu wanted to get a similar position. The ordinary powers achieved by the mystic yoga, austerities, and other process are sometimes vanquished, but the powers obtained by the mercy of Lord are never vanquished. And Hiranyakashipu therefore wanted a benediction that would never be vanquished. So in this way, he actually uh, prayed to Lord Brahma that please make me immortal, or in short, I should not be killed by any of these providence. And then after that, Lord Brahma, he actually given him the benediction, saying that okay, this benediction for which you are asked are difficult to obtain for most men. Nonetheless, he's saying, as you have done the austerity very severely, I shall grant you them, although they are generally not available to everyone. So Lord Brahma sanctioned his, no, the request by Hiranyakashipu, and then the demon Hiranyakashipu, having thus been blessed by Lord Brahma and having acquired a lustrous golden body, he got his back, his strengthless body, and his physical body as well, and continued to remember the death of his brother Hinaksha, and therefore he became envious of Lord Vishnu. So initially he had planned to kill Vishnu, and so he went for austerity, and by getting the austerity is the boon, he is again remembering the death of his brother, by which he can again kill Vishnu. And Prabhupada says a demonic person, in spite of acquiring all the opulences possible to obtain in this universe, continuous continues to be envious of the supreme personality of Godhead. So that's the mentality of demon. Even we see sometime in the today's world, people have so many things, but still they say, I don't believe in God, though they everything get by God. And Prabhupada very nicely explains that the very important thing for a person to live is breathing, isn't it? And that we do automatically. And who provide this? We can't think. Sunlight, the moonlight, all the natural things are all provided by Krishna. Prabhupada says, all the vegetables and others, no factory in this world can manufacture vegetables, isn't it? So everything is provided by nature, and that Mother Nature is actually are under control of Lord Krishna. And then demonic people, Prabhupada says, they are having all things, but still they still become envious of Lord Krishna or God. And then Hiranyakashipu actually conquered the entire universe, even the Indra Loka as well. And he used to reside in the opulent place of Indra. And there is a nice description of Indra Loka, or where Indra used to live, is given. I like to read that purport actually. He says, the steps of King Indra's residence were made of coral. The floor was bedecked with invaluable emeralds. The walls were of crystal, and the columns of Baiduria stone. The wonderful canopies were beautifully decorated. The seats were bedecked with rubies, and the silk bedding, as white as foam, was decorated with pearls. The ladies of that palace, who were blessed with beautiful teeth and the most wonderful, beautiful faces, walked here and there in the palace, their ankle bands bell tinkling melodiously, and saw their own beautiful reflection in the gems. The demigods, however, being very much oppressed, had to bow down and offer obeisances at the lotus feet of Hiranyakashipu, who chastised the devatas very severely and for no reason. And thus Hiranyakashipu lived in the palace and severely ruled everyone. So Hiranyakashipu actually he ruled, he conquered an heavenly kingdom of Indra as well, and he became so powerful uh, by the boon of Lord Brahma. And Hiranyakashipu used to, always used to be drinking strong smelling wines and liquors, and by that, it says that in spite of achieving all the power to control in all directions, in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied. And the dissatisfaction was because he, instead of controlling his senses, he still remained their senses. Actually, he is not being controlling the senses, he is being controlled by senses. So as much as we are being controlled by senses, we would remain dissatisfied. And when our when the senses being controlled by the mind, and the mind being controlled by intelligence, and we understood earlier what intelligence means. Intelligence means is to use this human body to serve Lord Krishna. And when we do that, we become satisfied. Or otherwise, on the other side of the coin, we would remain always dissatisfied. And Prabhupada writes in this explanation that, this is an example of asuric life, or atheist can advance materially and create an extremely comfortable situation for the senses, but because they are controlled by the senses, they cannot be satisfied. This is the effect of modern civilization. Materialistics are very much advancing in enjoying money and women, yet dissatisfaction prevails within the human society, because human society cannot be happy and peace without Krishna consciousness. As Prabhupada writes in purport clearly that, and then all the great sages, the devatas, they all actually approach to Lord. So we understood all the time that, whenever they are the trouble uh, for devatas, they actually goes and prays to Vishnu. He says, please help us out. And they paid their obeisances and prayed. He's saying, and then Lord's many a time he comes to give his association with them, and sometimes he used to get voice vibration or translated sound by which they used to hear it. And he said that I know all the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. So do not worry, I will be coming soon and will stop all the activities of Hiranyakashipu. And when one is envious of the Devatas, who represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Vedas, which give all the knowledge of the cows, the Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, religious principles, and ultimately of me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he and his civilizations will be vanquished without delay. So Lord actually assured them that do not worry, because you are my representative, and definitely I will help you out, and I will come very soon. And when Hiranyakashipu teaches the great devotee Prahlad, his own son, who is very peaceful and sober and who has no enemy, I shall kill Hiranyakashipu immediately and despite the benediction of Brahma. So again, by saying all this, Lord Vishnu actually assured them that you can go back to your places and don't worry, I will be coming soon, and he will have a son, Prahlad, and that son, he will be actually torturing to Prahlad, and I will come and save Prahlad and kill Hiranyakashipu. That is being assured, assurance given by Lord to them. And by hearing this, they all came back very nicely. And Hiranyakashipu had four sons. So, and one of them was Prahlad Maharaj, and who was an unalloyed devotee. And although Prahlad Maharaj was actually born in the family of Asura, he himself was not an Asura, rather a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And unlike other Asuras, he was never envious of Vaishnavas, and he was not agitated when put into danger. We will see it, what kind of danger actually Hiranyakashipu placed in front of a small child, Prahlad Maharaj. He was 5 years old, and he was being tormented in all the possibilities what Hiranyakashipu could do. We'll see it in next chapter. And then Prahlad Maharaj, he was neither directly or indirectly interested in the fruitive activities that described in the Vedas. And Sukadeva Goswami says that Prahlad Maharaj's good qualities are still glorified by the learned saints and Vaishnavas. So Prahlad Maharaj was all glorious. In fact, right now also we are discussing about the same topic about Prahlad Maharaj. Sukadeva Goswami says Prahlad Maharaj was so elevated that his glories being described by learned saints and Vaishnavas. And as all good qualities are always found existing in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also exist forever in his devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. So pure devotees, they actually acquire the qualities of Lord. Right? And then Prahlad Maharaj was always absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He was always thinking of Krishna, though he was just 5 years, but still he was thinking of Krishna. We'll see in chapter 8 or 9 there how Prahlad Maharaj was actually teaching the Krishna consciousness to his friends who were just 5 years, 7 years, and he actually turned everyone into to be more into Krishna consciousness. And then, because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes used to cry, sometimes used to laugh, and he was in jubilation. So we see the great Vaishnavas who are actually very dear or elevated soul, and they when they see Lord, they used to cry sometime. And then when they it's had happens, it's called as a bhava. So it's not a thing which comes artificially. It actually comes gradually, slowly, when they start loving it. It's basically, when if you see, many times it happens when we meet our some dear friends, or maybe sometimes our parents, after a long time, naturally we start crying, isn't it? So that's basically, it's because of the love we have with our parents or our friends or others, and we are seeing them after a long time. So the same thing happens with this pure devotee when they sing and glorify about Lord, right? And then Maharaj Yudhishthir, he he asks a question that how did Hiranyakashipu give so much trouble to Prahlad Maharaj, the pure and exalted saint? And although Prahlad was his own son, and how can a person be like that? That he is tormenting to his own son, and also he is a devotee, and also he is a small 5 years. So how this part is possible? And his Yudhishthira Maharaj says to Narada Muni that a father and a mother are always affectionate to their children, and when the children are disobedient, the parents chastise them. That's okay, but not due to enmity, but only for the children's or child's instructions and welfare. So the parents, they sometimes chastise their son or their children, just to make them in a correct way or for their own welfare. But they never intend to be envious. They never intend or plan to kill them, isn't it? And then how could Hiranyakashipu do this? That's been asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada Muni. And he says, I have never heard of such a contradiction as an affectionate father punishing his noble son with the intention of killing him. So kindly dispel my doubts. So these are the doubts by Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Narada Muni. We actually going to clear his doubt in next chapter. That is chapter 5. And Prahlad Maharaj was a very, very saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. So the Narada Muni continues saying that the demon headed by Hiranyakashipu accepted Sukracharya as their priest of ritualistic ceremonies, and Sukracharya has two sons, Sanda and Amarka. So Sanda and Amarka, they used to live by Hiranyakashipu palace, and Prahlad Maharaj was sent to them for being taught the topics of politics and economics, other things. And what happened once, Hiranyakashipu took his son Prahlad on his lap and very affectionately inquired, as like we, when our children, they come from schools, we said, okay, what have you learned today? Can you tell us? In a similar way, he asked his son, he says, my dear son, please let me know what you think is the best of the all subjects you have been studying from your teacher. So definitely, it's a very nice question by your parents. So though Hiranyakashipu asking this question, and Prahlad Maharaj replied a glorious answer. He says, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, he's not saying that I've learned from Sanda and Amarka. He's saying from my spiritual master, who will see who is, and any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embraced by anxiety because of having fallen in the dark well where there is no water but only suffering. And one should give up this position and go to the forest, Prabhupada says, mostly the Vrindavana, and where only Krishna consciousness is prevailed, and should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. By hearing this, a demon mind, he got completely angry and agitated. And when Prahlad Maharaj spoke about this path of self-realization in devotional service, Hiranyakashipu heard Prahlad's words, and actually, because he was hearing for the first time, he laughed very, loudly and said, "Thus is the intelligence of children being spoiled by the words of my enemy." So still the enmity is going on in his mind, and he's thinking somehow or other Vishnu has spoiled the intelligence of my child. And then Hiranyakashipu actually advised his assistants, the Sand and Amarka, that actually he first chastised that what are teaching you are giving to my children. And then he says, uh, give them complete protection to this boy in the Gurukul. Be very guarded. No one could come him, and you should instruct him the intelligence of the politics and economics, and make sure that no further influence by any Vaishnavas happens to Prahlad. And after that, servants of Hiranyakashipus, they brought Prahlad Maharaj back to Gurukul, and then these teachers, the Sanda and Amarka, very politely they asked that, how have you learned these instructions, and from where have you learned this instruction? Because we haven't given this instruction to you. And how has your intelligence been spoiled this way? See, someone becoming a devotee of Lord, and the teachers are asking, how is your intelligence being spoiled? So that's again a demonic nature. And they say, others boys, see, they do not speak like you. And from where are you getting all this? Does your intelligence being spoiled by our enemies? And then Prahlad Maharaj offered his obeisances to Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and then said, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with the living entity, because of his devotional service, no one becomes a Pandita. So one becomes a Pandita when Supreme Personality of Godhead or Vishnu is being pleased with the living entity by his devotional service. And and that does not make distinction between the enemies, friends, and himself. So he thinks everyone is same, even the enemies, even the friends and himself. He says everywhere Krishna is present. And intelligently he thinks that every one of us is an eternal servant of God. And therefore, we are not different from one another. He's saying this to his teachers. And he says, "O teacher, as if like an iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically towards the magnet, so the my consciousness, having been changed by his will means the Lord's will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus, I have no independence." He's saying, I'm in control of Lord Vishnu, as if like, we play at home sometimes with the magnetic stones and magnets. Where the magnets goes, the iron follows it, isn't it? In a similar way, saying, my consciousness is being actually attached to Lord Vishnu. And so I'm in control by that. And by hearing this, actually, these two teachers, they became again angry. And the teachers, they chastised Prahlad Maharaj and threatened that, they told the disciple that, in various many ways, and they began teaching him about the path of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Again, the same thing. But Prahlad Maharaj has no interest in those things. They taught all what they could to Prahlad Maharaj, but Prahlad Maharaj, and actually by teaching everything, Prahlad Maharaj, they actually brought back Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu again. And then Prahlad Maharaj paid obeisances to his father, Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu actually became happy by seeing that respect of Prahlad Maharaj, and then he blessed his son, and then he asked the same question again. He said, my dear Prahlad, my dear son, you live long. That's a blessing he gave. And he says, now please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge you have learned in this past time. And then Prahlad Maharaj speak about the process of devotional service. So that's a very, we know that Navada Bhakti, ninth process of devotional service, that comes from this sloka of Prahlad Maharaj. Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Mandanam Dashyam Shakyam Atma Nivedanam. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing, chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastime of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These nine processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these nine methods should be understood to be the most ornate person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So that's being said by Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu, that this is what I have learned. And Prabhupada says that this Navada Bhakti, so any of these nine topics, Savanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So any of the nine, anyone can do one of these, and he can attain perfection in his life to achieve the Vaikuntha Loka. But Prabhupada says the best is the first two, Sravanam and Kirtanam. So hearing about Lord and chanting the glories of the Lord. So when we hear about Lord, we speak about the Lord. That is Sranam Kirtanam. And when we do that, Vishnu Sranam, it automatically comes, because when we speak about Vishnu, when we hear about Vishnu, we can remember Vishnu very well. And then gradually we start serving him. That is Padashivanam. And then by serving him, we start doing his worshipping, his service to him, giving prasadam, and all those things happens. So important is Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu. Those are most important thing. And just by uh, as we hear many times, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in this Kali Yuga, Yuga Dharma, where we just chanting the holy name of Lord, like Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam. So just by chanting holy name of Lord, we can actually cross this uh, nuisance of material world. And after hearing these words, just imagine what could have been going through Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu, he became extremely angry, and he started trembling, and he spoke to Sanda and Amarka that you have disobeyed my order, and I have asked you to keep him secluded from the Vaishnava association or the instructions by any other one, but you take shelter of my enemy. And the teacher says, please do not do not chastise us, my dear king. We have not taught this to him. And his spontaneous devotional service has actually naturally developed your anger. Do not get angry on us. And then the king asked his son that who had taught all this to you. Then Prabhupada says, Prahlad Maharaj continues saying that no, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish condition and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. So their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instruction of others or by their own effort or by any contamination of both. So it's very difficult to actually uh, get inclination towards Lord Krishna. When Prabhupada says, whose only aim is to live comfortably with body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. The two expressions, Grihavrata and Charvita Charanam, indicate that a materialistic person tries to tries to enjoy sense gratification in different bodily form, life after life, but he is still unsatisfied. In the name of personalism, this ism and that ism, such person always remain attached to the materialistic way of life. And as Bhagavad Gita says, uh, in the mind of those who are too attached to sense gratification and material opulences, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolved determination of devotional service to Supreme Lord does not take place. So by this, hearing those things, and then again, Prahlad continues saying that sadhu sangha is very, very important. So he says, unless a person, anyone who smear upon their bodies the dust of lotus feet of the Vaishnavas, completely freed from metal contamination, persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. And only by becoming Krishna consciousness, taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way, one can be freed from material contamination. So that's again Prahlad Maharaj replied to the king that what the learning is, what the teachings are. And Prabhupada says uh, that person who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted their leaders or a guru, a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in service of Lord Vishnu. As a blind man, guided by another blind man, miss the right path and fall into a ditch, similar way, mentally attached men, led by another mentally attached man, are bound by the ropes of fruitic labor, which are made of very, very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. So the solution for that to get out of these miseries is sadhu sangha. So when we associate with the devotees, when we try to associate and hear about this holy name, glories of Krishna Katha, then gradually the contamination goes away, our hearts start become pure, and then we gradually see our own self very well, and then we can relate our own self with Lord Krishna gradually. So we'll continue from here. It's half of chapter 5, and we'll continue from here, rest half tomorrow, and then we'll see how Prahlad Maharaj is actually being tormented by in various ways in the next half of this chapter. Okay, any questions or any thoughts? Okay, if nothing, then I have one thing. So the thing is that I would like to thank you all, everyone, and it's from my inner core of my heart that thanks you all for giving this opportunity for continuing a discussion in Srimad Bhagavatam. So today is the last day of Kartik month, and I feel fortunate actually to continuously read Srimad Bhagavatam from last 2.5 months, and it's all because of yours. And definitely, I'm not sure how much thing I made in front of you, or how much you get it, but certainly I am very much sure because of you all, I have got a lot of things. And I thought of reading Srimad Bhagavatam continuously, but it never happened because of so busy life and other things. But just because of your dedication and your prayers, your blessings, I could continue going through this. So from my heart, thank you everyone very much for giving this opportunity to discuss continuously from 2.5 months every day, not missing any day on Srimad Bhagavatam. So anyway, we'll continue it, but today is the last day of Kartik month, so let's come and pray to Lord Damodar. Let's pray to Lord Jagannath. Let's pray to Koranita Mayapurshasi that somehow or other he gives us the right path to take ahead and give us a small tinge of his devotional service, so that we can release the happiness, the blissfulness of his pleasantness. Okay.
Can I say something, Prabhuji? Thank you very much for being an inspiration for all of us to come and join you. I mean, it's nice to, it is very good to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. And since I've known you, I know you're dedicated, and whatever you do it from the bottom of your heart. You're not pocha pachi, you're not doing a whitewash. You're doing it from the bottom of your heart, and you do it very sincerely. Thank you very much.
So it's all because of Srila Prabhupada and all things. And we are just trying out as much as we can do. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow again. We'll continue from here.
See you tomorrow. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you.
Ashutosh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank